and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am November Kelly. I am joined, as always, by a collection of microbes colonizing my throat and upper respiratory tract, making me sound like this, and my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hello.
How you doing? Not friends, because we're making you work while you sound sick.
It's true. It's true.
Special guest, the novel coronavirus.
We do have a special guest, and it's not the novel coronavirus.
It's pretty close.
It's more of like an imposter. Yeah.
It's Brian from the Worst of All Possible Worlds. Brian, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I'm also sick, not with the novel coronavirus.
It's going around. You know, everyone is sick, and we're all being forced to record podcasts. But
that's right.
We're finally getting into another series, and we're so glad to have you with us for Ocean's 11 brackets, the one people like, the good one.
Yes.
Yeah, the good one.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Of all the things to ask me to be on to do, I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah,
I really have to deliver, and I probably won't.
It's fine. I mean, this is the thing. What's actually going to happen is we're going to do a very elaborate podcast, and then we're going to find out that you're walking out with all of our mixers under your arm at the end. It's like nested, you know?
Yeah, we're putting a crew together. Like next podcast, we're going to have 5 people on and just kind of gradually build it up.
Yeah.
We kind of did put a crew together. Like functionally, this is November's 3, which you could do worse.
Yeah,
as
I
far
think
as
you
names
can. Yes, this would be November's 4.
That's the sequel, you know?
Yeah, Danny's part of the 11, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
That's a real
Yeah,
key
he's
question.
One
with
of
Johnson.
the 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
that to me seems like an exercise in vanity. It's Ocean's 10 plus Ocean to me, but go off or whatever.
Yeah, Ocean and his boys.
We did Ocean's 11, the 60s one, and this kind of like languished in obscurity as a fun movie that the Rat Pack did for themselves. And then this guy, Steven Soderbergh, came along. Steven Soderbergh is kind of like, he's not a bad director, but one thing he likes to do is remakes of other people's more obscure movies.
Yes.
Traffic, if you've seen that, that's a remake. Well, so is this. He sort of dusted off Ocean's 11, and because George Clooney and Brad Pitt were like, "Oh, we're cool," like Frank Sinatra? ? You know, not sure what president George Clooney had assassinated, but whatever.
Well, George Clooney's wife is a human rights lawyer, right? So I guess he's
True,
sort of
yeah.
the anti-Sinatra. He's not affiliated with the mob. He's affiliated with
They can
justice.
never meet.
In a roundabout way, I think that George Clooney sort of assassinated Hillary Clinton's career.
That might be true.
Oh.
I really like the idea of like firing
That could be true.
a Sinatra particle and a Clooney particle at each other in like a collider, and then measuring the kind of. But yeah, so we begin in prison, and George Clooney enters, trying to look not like George Clooney. This is a problem for him. His whole
Yes.
career, I think, is
Yes.
Yeah. He's very handsome. So he's grown this sort of horrible prison goatee.
Mhm. Prison goatee as like a known thing is also really funny.
Yeah. He has a parole hearing with the exposition committee.
Yes.
And they say, you're up for parole. This is they said, welcome to Act 1 of the film. We're establishing where the characters are before the conflict begins.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're like, you're up for parole. You won second place in the Neil Macaulay lookalike contest in prison.
You haven't yet started a tequila business and become a billionaire, but you were caught for the first time doing scams, dodges, and heists and crimes.
Yes.
But you were implicated in a number of other things. What do you have to say about that? And he goes, well, I was never caught before. And then he was like, and it's my bitch wife's fault that I was caught the first time.
He lays out his motivation immediately,
My
which is,
wife left me is like his first line.
yes,
Cool,
there's a really clean drop of that neither of us have. So I apologize to you, the viewer, because I watched this one on a big TV with my wife, and as a result, you don't get the line, my wife left me.
Who did not leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Your wife stayed there and watched Ocean's 11 with you.
Yeah.
But so George Clooney is trying to look like greasy and down on his luck instead of like George Clooney. It's not very successful because you look at him and you go, holy shit, that's George Clooney, the guy from the fucking like Nespresso ads.
Yeah. And Batman.
Yeah.
But they give him back his belongings when they release him from prison. And the belongings they give him back are obviously the things that he was arrested in, which is a tuxedo, which is like very funny.
It's a fun
very
bit.
cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it is.
I like that it's a recurring bit too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's philosophically interesting to go straight from like a straight jacket or whatever the prison clothes are directly to tuxedo without touching normal clothes on the way. I think that's really cool.
I only do the extreme.
I'm swapping between these
the
two.
most disgraced item of clothing, the prison straight jacket, to the most honorable item of clothing, the tuxedo.
The USian huge suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, this isn't a huge suit. This is a very nicely tailored tuxedo.
We'll get there. But so like he's getting out of prison in New Jersey, right? Because he's been arrested in Atlantic City. And they really do, make Atlantic City look like absolute shit here, because he gets out. He has like a joke phone call with his parole officer where he's like, no, I won't leave the state. And, it's kind of implied that both of them don't believe him.
Did you notice what he's standing in front of when he makes that phone call?
There is a jump scare because he is in front of an out of focus giant sign for Trump Plaza.
Yeah.
The Donald Trump's failed casino jump scare, or Trump scare.
Normally you have to go to Home Alone 2 to get a Trump scare like that.
Liam from Well, There's Your Problem has some furniture from Trump Plaza after it went bankrupt.
Oh my god.
That's so cool.
So he goes into a casino in Atlantic City and immediately dead names a croupier. Because he meets Bernie Mac, RIP.
Yes.
Who is working as a croupier there under the name Ramon Escalante. And he immediately addresses him as, oh, hey, it's Frank from Crimes. Remember when we did Crimes together?
Frank.
A big plot point of this movie is how incredibly surveilled every casino floor is. And this guy goes up to him at work and is like, yo, I remember you from doing Crimes.
Oh, Frank Crimes? How you doing?
Frank Crimey Crimes?
Grimes' his brother Crimes?
Crimey, as his friends called him, yeah.
Yeah, crimey.
Yeah. So Frank Crimes is like, all right, listen, I can't talk about this right now. Meet me later in another scene to pad the movie out a bit so I can tell you about what the deal is.
Yeah.
As he does.
And he says, yeah, well, I just got out of prison today, considering planning something.
Before he gets there, he's still had this fuck-ass little prison goatee the whole time. And the way that they get him away from that is there's a shot of him coming up an escalator where he doesn't have the goatee anymore. And I watched this. I was in a particular frame of mind, and I went, "Oh my god, it shaved him."
The escalator did?
Yeah, the escalator that shaves you.
Instantly.
These are the famous shaving escalators of New Jersey. They were installed in 1938. There have been many lost lives because of them, but they keep them open because of tradition.
Oh yeah, it's like a straight razor blade right here. Gotta be so careful on those.
But he's looking very smooth, very handsome. He's not got the head wobble that he had when he played Bruce Wayne, so he's really good. This is like peak Clooney.
Yeah, this is.
But anyway, he beats Millie back later. He's like, I'm putting the job together, considering something. I need to find a guy. I'm looking for somebody. Do you know where Rusty is? And as we see, Rusty, Brad Pitt is in Hollywood, baby.
Brad Pitt, guy you hate to see,
Yeah, guy who is working. So the thing is, like, I have it on very good authority that George Clooney is extremely lovely. This is one of my drivers on the Acolyte told me that he worked with him on Boys in the Boat. And it was like, George Clooney is genuinely one of the loveliest men in Hollywood.
I believe it.
Still besties with Brad Pitt
is also an actor.
Yes, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is an actor who was credibly accused of. He has a Wikipedia page. You can look it up, but it's crazy that he has a career still. Anyway, he's a good actor, is the thing, and I guess that makes it worthwhile for Hollywood. He is playing
Rusty.
Yeah, he's playing Rusty Ryan, who basically is Danny Ocean's like old flame / soulmate / crimes partner.
Yeah, he's his best buddy.
This whole movie is kind of like a buddy comedy and kind of a bit of a like bromance between the two of them.
Yeah.
What he's doing is he's teaching actors how to be cool and play cards, and the actors are all playing themselves. So we get Topher Grace and Shane West playing themselves in this scene as Brad Pitt tries to teach them how to play cards and they all suck and aren't cool. Like Topher Grace's costume in this is like he's got a shitty leather jacket that looks way too new and like he's got a toothpick in his mouth. He's like trying to look really cool.
What's funny is that this scene is not very economical in the sense that you watch it and you go, or at least I did, oh, that's an elegant way of explaining like what poker is for a movie that's maybe going to have a lot of poker in it because we're in Vegas, set in casinos.
Yeah, you'd think.
Just doesn't.
Nope.
No, not important.
It doesn't.
What this is it's establishing that Brad Pitt is cool, which it does.
Yeah. Annoying, bad hang. Just won't stop telling everyone around the table what to do with their cards.
Yeah,
Shut up,
my poker sensei is telling me to hold.
Also, Brad Pitt's outfit in this scene is diabolical. It's a classic like early noughties. It's like dress shirt with tie, top button undone, no cufflinks. So the like the sleeves are just like flapping in the breeze. Diabolical. Looks like a magician. Awful.
Yeah, wizard sleeve shit.
See, this would have gone hard as fuck in like Romeo plus Juliet. The thing about the outfit is he's all in like close or medium shots until the end of the scene, and then at the end they finally put him in a long shot and you realize he is wearing the traditional USian huge suit, and it does you realize how boxy the cut is.
Yeah, there was this weird phase in the early noughties when men all dressed like magicians, and like this is part of that.
Depending on your tolerance, because I like this kind of bullshit, right? So George Clooney shows up. He infiltrates the poker game. He's wearing a turtleneck, which again, like it was a time in American history. And so what happens there is we get this what's intended to be an establishing character moment of George Clooney bets. He goes all in. And Brad Pitt is teaching his students, this is a man who is a liar and he's bluffing and he is now caught in the bluff and we're going to take him for everything he's got. Except that George Clooney then kind of wins because he has 4 of a kind, 4 nines.
Yes.
But that just makes him lucky rather than it's sort of like a great example of a thing that really took hold in the way that a lot of movies depict gambling and like card games, of being lucky makes you skilled or cooler.
Well, do you remember how we met James Bond? Do you remember what he was doing when we first met him?
Yeah,
in
he was
Dr.
playing
No?
Shaman Defer, baby.
That's
A
right.
game of luck, which he wins.
Pure chance.
Turns over card, 3 million, Mr. Bond.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's 4 million. But yeah, 4 nines in itself, like pretty good hand, but like, you're going to need some jokers. You need malt in that as the thing. Otherwise,
shut the fuck up. Shut up.
It's going to top out pretty
I haven't played Balatro.
Well, something else is that like it's ambiguous in this scene as to whether like Clooney and Pitt have run this routine before. Like is he really beating Brad Pitt here, or is Brad Pitt and Clooney together conning his students?
Yeah,
Unclear.
it is homoerotic as fuck.
Yeah.
But by the way, the one line of this that really stuck in my head from having seen it years ago was one of the poker students throws down what is not a flush and says kind of triumphantly, all reds. And I really, I really like that. But yeah, so Brad Pitt is miserable doing this. And obviously Clooney recognizes this and it's like, you gotta get out of here and come do a heist with me.
Gonna rob 3 casinos in Las Vegas. 2 less than Frank Sinatra. But we're gonna rob the Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand because they're all owned by the same guy and they all go into the same vault.
Yes. I should say, as he's explaining this, we're seeing the floor plans and we're getting the heist planning music. You know what this music sounds like.
And if you don't worry, it'll keep coming. It'll keep hitting you throughout the course of the movie.
Like, these 2 guys are constantly being followed by a saxophonist who's just like fucking noodling.
I would love to be followed by a saxophonist who is constantly noodling. I mean, maybe not constantly, but like, a decent part of my day, I think, would be improved by saxophony.
Funk bass line.
No, that's too funky.
Great.
I don't deserve that kind of funk. But
I'm
like
not doing
the
that,
kind of low, like Jason Bourne, kind of like kind of thing. Yeah, maybe.
But we'll get to him.
I'm walking around, it's just going like bum, burdum, burdum,
they gave me the comic soundtrack. There's a guy with an oboe following me around to indicate that I'm fat. Like.
The music is getting more like ridiculous.
I would hate to be accompanied by the whimsical piccolo, you know?
The guy following me has just got a theremin.
I don't know. Gohan did all right by it.
Yeah. Whims. Oh dear. Oh dear. When he turns orange, he gets such more serious Piccolo, I feel.
What, his dad? Yeah, but Goku killed him.
That's true. Well,
Yeah.
So Brad Pitt is like, but this is crazy. You would need, and then what follows is a great
you need
piece
at least
of,
a dozen men.
yeah, at least a dozen. You need Ocean's 11 plus a bunch of heist gibberish. And
well, firstly, you'd need money.
Yeah.
So they're like, what are we
True.
going to do? We're going to have to see the most Jewish man we can find.
one of two.
That's right.
We will get
Yeah,
there.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the other thing that you are going to need is, like, I actually have the line here. 1 second. Rusty says, off the top of my head, I'd say you're looking at a Boski, a Jim Brown, a Miss Daisy, 2 Jethros, and a Leon Spinks, not to mention the biggest Ella Fitzgerald ever. And you can go back and look up what they meant by all of these, and they're not like, it's not a known meaning. It's just like something that retroactively or retrospectively like makes sense for the thing, and you go, oh, that's kind of clever. And this whole movie is stuff that retrospectively makes you go, oh, that's kind of clever, although you had no way of knowing. And that's part of the art of what a heist film is fucking with your urge, or at least my urge, to crisp and potato snacks the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I kind of like that in a way.
So
you know?
do I.
I enjoy it this time around. It probably was going to wear thin.
Well, I hope you're excited for an entire season of this, because this is kind of the form of art, I think.
Mm-hmm. So they go and see this guy, Ruben.
Hell yeah.
And they're like, it's Elliot Gould.
Fucking Elliot Gould, baby.
Elliot Gould.
And he's Mr. Casinos. He invented casinos.
I'd love this bit, not just because I love Elliot Gould, also because he has a little montage. He's like, I'm going to play you my montage. You know what the 3 most successful casino robberies of all time were? And so they're all like guys trying to grab fistfuls of chips or like money boxes or fistfuls of money. And this culminates with the most successful casino robbery of all time, 1987. A guy with a sort of like 2 arms full of cash makes it to the parking lot, and Caesar's Palace executes this guy like the School of the Americas. This is never mentioned again, but they have like 5 armed security guards shoot this guy in the back on the strip, and it's just like, yeah, cool.
Also, so we see these 3 most successful casino robbery attempts in history, which like 50s, 70s, and 80s, and we flash back to them. And like we get 3 period piece scenes with like multiple camera angles, like must be dozens of extras, like pyrotechnics involved. And this is the kind of like ridiculously indulgent filmmaking that like you would not get this now. If you submitted this script now, it would be thrown out. That immediately they would just like cross that whole section out. Because just that like 90 seconds of this movie, those 3 period piece scenes must have cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars to film. It's so indulgent.
This is Soderbergh so on his shit. Like he had done 2 big commercial pictures before this. Traffic was earlier in the same year, and Aaron Brockovich was the year before. And they're both quite a bit more conventional. And this is him going back into I'm doing the Limey, but with a huge budget now. And a big part of why he could do it is because he made so many friends among people like George Clooney and Brad Pitt and everybody. And they all did it at a reduced rate. They all went for less than what they would get from other movies.
I would take the deal for what is functionally in either Ocean's 11 movie. The deal is, I'm going to make you look cool as hell, and you're going to have a good time hanging out with all your friends. I would take that deal.
Oh, no.
I basically do.
It's a pretty good deal, actually.
This podcast has been a heist all along.
That's right. Give me all your friendship.
Patreon.com/KillJamesBond.
Yeah, I'm like in hospital, like 85 years old, dying, and like surrounded by friends and family and all the fruits of my labors, and I'm just like, my sort of like fucked up heartbeat gets straighter on the like monitor. I start grinning as I get away with all of your friendship.
Tricked you all into being my friends, fucking idiots.
Saxophonist in the next
The
room is noodling.
greatest scam of all.
Flashback to how I made you all my friends. Like,
Aw.
this guy is on the payroll of the Las Vegas casino industry. He just looks at the camera and then is like, no one's ever robbed a casino in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the last one, where it's like you have to have an advertisement for the gambling industry, and for these three casinos in particular, because they keep naming them, and they have the real names of the Bellagio and the MGM Grand and the Mirage. And it's like they wouldn't have agreed to this if they didn't understand that this would get more people gambling and fewer people robbing them.
Yes.
But so Elliot Gould, he's because we also have this question, right, of what Danny Ocean's motivation to do this is, and Rusty has asked him. He's given this little speech about how it's because the house always wins, and what you do is you kind of rig the odds on one thing and you bet big and you take that window and you get out. And in the next scene, Elliot Gould is like, "You're full of shit. All of these casinos are owned by one guy who I also hate." And this is why you've come to me.
Yeah, he's Terry Benedict, and I hate him because he's demolishing my old casino in Las Vegas. But he's serious business. If he finds out you've done this, he will fuck you up. He will
he's gonna do lawfare on you.
Yeah. Well, no, he'll kill you.
Yeah, well, he compares it to the mob, right? Because he says another line I like. It used to be civilized. You hit a guy, he had you whacked, done. So like the mob would just have you beaten to death and buried in a cornfield. Yeah. Whereas this guy will persecute you to death, will sort of go after your relatives.
He'll have you shot outside the Little Caesars Little Palace. He'll have your brother taken out back of the Little Caesars Palace. He'll take you out and go for your family,
Little
right?
Caesars Palace?
Little Caesars Palace.
Pizza, but for roulette.
And they're like, yeah, cool, we love it, actually.
Okay.
We now get to another classic thing. This is the thing. This built so much of the architecture of what a heist film is, right?
That's why we have to talk about it first.
At least rebuilt a lot of it, because some of the stuff already existed. It's why it was worthwhile talking about Ocean's 11 in the first place. Is a lot of the stuff existed already, but we're really kind of reinventing it for the 2000s. And so assembling the crew, putting the team together, is just
we already have an improvement on the original Ocean's 11 because I can tell them all apart. We get sort of crew montage. The saxophonist is in the house again, and that all the crew have a different thing. They're all they look different. Their personalities are different. So we have straight away we've already got 4, which is George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Elliot Gould, and Bernie Mac.
Yeah, we've got Bernie on
We're
side.
also going to need two brothers who are our getaway drivers
who hate each other.
These are the two Jethros, apparently.
Yeah.
Great.
This totally read to me as an American who is also a huge fan of the Beverly Hillbillies. I was like, oh yeah, those are the two Jethros.
Yeah, 100%.
Turk and Virgil, who I will be calling the two Jethros. We find out that they're Mormon. It's one of the first things Rusty says is the two Mormon brothers. I think these guys should have significantly weirder names than Turk and Virgil if we're going to go down that route,
Yes.
These are Track and Stag, and you wouldn't believe the number of K's and G's involved in the spelling of either of those.
Both non-binary.
Every Mormon man, non-binary. Interesting.
Yeah, I like that Mormon here is just a shorthand for these guys are basically just children.
Yes.
They're 30 years old, but they talk to each other like they're 12.
They're bickering constantly. Yeah.
The bickering brothers, right? That's sort of what you get. Yeah, they're fun.
We see them fucking around with remote controlled cars, which is going to be important later. They get on side pretty quickly.
One of them is Casey Affleck, who also has interesting things on his Wikipedia page.
Oh no!
Oh god,
Mr. Tab Mormon. Oh no!
Taking a look at Scott Kahn. No, he's
Tab
fine.
with 3 B's. So
we also have the electrician, Livingston, who is extremely nervous.
Yes. Electrician. We've got an electrician.
He's the anxiety guy, right? And he's their IT guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of looks somewhat like Buster Bluth. A little bit.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
This is not going to be helped by the fact that another one of them looks a lot like Jeffrey Tambor. So just every so often I think about the fact that there's always money in the banana stack. We also get the demolition man, their munitions guy.
Okay, yeah. So they go,
Christ.
Bachelor. I don't have a drop, but don't worry.
Hello, governor. It's Don Cheadle doing his British accent in it, bruv.
He's awful. I'm really sorry. I like Don Cheadle a lot as an actor, but like his accent is atrocious.
Don Cheadle had a bad time on this movie. I feel bad for Don Cheadle because he seems to do a few movies that he has a bad time on. And this one, first of all, he knows the accent is bad, right? But he really works on it. He like went to Britain, he like tried to like do like
so fucking
accent
funny
training. And then his agent told him in his telling, yeah, the accent's great, Don.
You tried to do this action, you're getting beaten up in the streets.
That's an American agent. Yeah. That's what they do. They believe in you over there. They shouldn't have done, but they do.
He claims to have fired that agent over this. And for good reason, because the accent is diabolical.
Yeah, he's doing Cockney rhyme and slang the whole time and everything.
Oh, it's up the fucking apples and stairs, isn't it?
It's like, oi there, who dropped a Richard III over here?
Why do that?
Big Barney, lads. Barney Rubble. Trouble. Like, all right,
I really love that it like sometimes it changes just from one shot to the next.
Yeah.
A wandering accent. I think the thing is...
why do this?
I'm looking at Don Cheadle's Wikipedia profile image, and this is the most on mushrooms I've ever seen anyone be. Like, honest to God. Look at this look at his eyes, man.
The other thing about Don Cheadle in this movie is he got very, very upset about the crediting for it because it's an ensemble cast and he felt he didn't get credited enough to the point that he had them take him off the credits.
That's an unorthodox response to not being credited enough, is to be like, I don't want to be credited at all.
Yeah, just a miserable time making Ocean's 11, which is a real shame, you know, because this is one of the films that seems like should be fun to make, not if you're Don Cheadle, you know.
Yeah. No.
Just either don't do the accent or cast another actor.
I think the reason why this accent is, Brian, you mentioned the liming. Steven Soderbergh, kind of a like weeb for England. Yeah. Horrifying to contemplate, I know.
Mm.
But not to the point of casting a real Brit.
Oh no. He needs to cast a bunch of basically like Onagata for British people. Right? It's like they're British impersonators.
Yeah.
In the music hall tradition.
Like professionally. Yeah.
Listeners, your gauge for what a bad British accent, bad Cockney accent can be might be like, I don't know, Carl Urban in episode 1 of The Boys before he really got it dialed in.
Bloody hell.
But this is so much fucking worse.
Yeah.
Like, go back and watch this because it's fucking awful.
It's not quite Dick Van Dyke, but it's almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
just the fact that he claims, and I believe him to have worked really hard on this, it just really lends it like an air of pathos. Like,
it's because you wouldn't lie about that, right? Like, you would take this act and be like, by the way, I was properly trying when I went, oh geez, Gov. That was me, like,
and the thing,
locked in.
You're acting against like Brad Pitt and George Clooney, who apart from anything else are good actors. They're not giving you any notes on that.
And they're not having to do an accent. They're just talking about Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
You never do that. You don't give another actor notes unless they ask. You never ever do that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had like a kind of samurai code about this. Yeah.
Average actor, I reckon they would kill you over that.
So they have to break Don Cheadle out of like getting arrested because he's done a bank robbery that's gone wrong. He's gotten arrested, and they have to get him out by doing some minor domestic terrorism.
A little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's one of these, like, everything about this movie, it's slick, doesn't really make sense. That's not really the point of it to make sense. You don't, like, if you can cinema sins ding this thing to death, but that's not really what we're doing here.
Brad Pitt poses as an ATF agent and, like, gets him out.
And what we get is kind of this buddy comedy between Clooney and Pitt here, which is half the appeal. They select a Chinese gymnast to fill the gymnast role.
Hard cuts to some clowns, and I was like, and the clown. We need the clown, obviously.
We need a clown, yep.
Yeah, and his only credits are the Ocean's movies. Like he never
Really?
pivoted into like a screen acting career. He's just like, hey, I'll just keep doing these.
Yeah, shit. His filmography is just Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and 8.
That's the perfect way to approach these things. You do 3 movies, you get out.
Yeah.
And then you do a 4th one and then get out.
That's right.
Yeah. And you come back about 11 years later and make a 4th one, and then you get back out because it didn't work.
Yeah.
So we need a second different Jewish stereotype, right? Because we've had Elliot Gould, who is wearing like 4 gold chains, one of which is a massive Star of David.
Yes.
And kind of like walking around with a cigar in his dressing gown.
Completely open gown the whole time as well.
To be clear, this fucks, and I love it.
Yeah, it's
He
great.
chews the fuck out of the scenery every time he's on set, and no one else is
But
doing.
this is Louis B. Mayer
anything like
is what we're doing, and then then we got to get this other guy. He's old as fuck, and he has ulcers.
Yeah.
So that's Saul and Reuben, respectively. This is
Yeah.
not the most nuanced depiction of American Jewish life, maybe.
Anyway, Saul has retired to Florida to lose at greyhounds.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt is like, do you want to come do crimes? He's like, no. Yes.
There's quite a stylish shot where he takes the job and throws his, like losing betting slips away. And we see his greyhound come in like 20 seconds late.
Yeah.
Just stylish.
And do you know who Saul is? Carl Reiner. I don't know if you know, like
the
he's
comedian.
He is a legend in comedy. He was a writer on Sid Caesar with Mel Brooks. They created the 2,000-year-old man character together. His son is Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner was the guy on All in the Family, and he's a big Resistance lib. But
a nepo daddy.
Yes,
you might say.
Carl Reiner was also showrunner of the Dick Van Dyke Show.
He at least could have given some notes on the accent.
He could have. He could, and I think he does a good whatever accent he's doing.
Yeah, something.
The accent I would describe as like elderly Jewish man who is retired to Florida. Like it fits the character, but it's like now we got to go and pick up Matt Damon.
Guy's got 11 Emmys. Yeah, they were like, oh, that'll be enough, right? 10 should be enough. Do you think we need one more? You think we need a Boston motherfucker? We need a true blue G? And they go,
we need Jason Bourne.
We need Jason fucking Bourne.
This is pre-Bourne, right?
This is the most heist music
Unborn?
they drop in the entire show, and it's just for like Jason Bourne stealing a guy's wallet on the subway. But like,
So they go to Chicago.
Above way, it's Chicago.
You're not making a living pickpocketing. Like even if you're the best pickpocket in the world, you're like
people
not
don't
living
carry
the
that much
Ocean's
money.
11. Yeah, exactly.
No one's got cash anymore for one thing. You're fucked now.
Danny goes into this guy's inventory.
Ironically, probably the industry that's been most obliterated by the pandemic.
For real.
Yeah.
Danny Ocean reverse pickpockets his business card into this guy's inventory.
Really funny.
So Matt Damon picks a guy's pocket on the subway, and then George Clooney crouches behind him and presses square and like puts a business card. It's like, meet me here.
Yeah, I really like Danny Ocean's useless business card because it just has his name on it and nothing else.
Yeah.
And anytime you need to convey any other information, you have to write it on the card yourself. So I really quite like, just like, here's my business card. November Kelly. It says nothing.
Number on it for you.
Mostly just a small memo pad, really.
Just a Post-it note with my name printed on it.
Like those drug dealers up north that just give you a business card with a phone number on it and nothing else.
Shit, that's cool.
Right?
The exact opposite. Instead of being useful, it's completely nothing. It just says like drug dealer on the front. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, wow. But so he lures Matt Damon to the location and he pitches him on the heist. There's a little bit of tension there in that Matt Damon's character is meant to be like a nepo baby of crime. This never comes up again.
I'm sorry, it does, because this proves to be extremely important, because Danny Ocean's like, I knew your dad. He was big in crimes or whatever.
Yeah, he was a regular heist guy. Like
crime Patreon. And like, don't you want to prove yourself? Because being a robber, this is my thesis of the movie, heists are a homosocial activity. They're about proving yourself to fellow men and to your dad by stealing property, which includes women.
Yes,
that's
definitely
true.
That is true.
So it's like, I knew your dad. He was a fisherman. Come and be in the movie.
What is fishing if not heisting a fish? Because the fish does not expect to be caught. Like,
right.
You're putting a scam on this fish.
Putting like my fucking blueprint of a lake down in front of like 10 guys. Like,
Ocean's 11.
So Ocean's coming up.
Finally got some good jokes out of Jason Bourne being raised by fishermen. I can lay this to rest.
Oh, we laid those seeds years ago.
We set it up. We got a flashback now to us setting that up, and just
it's gonna take years for this plan to come together. So yeah, obviously Matt Damon is on board. And they go to Vegas. We get the Elvis banger, A Little Less Conversation.
Yeah.
If you were alive when this movie came out, you possibly remember this exact remix because it charted for like fucking
hit the
ever.
charts.
Yeah, JXM, I want to say. And we go to Elliot Gould's house where they have the meeting scene. Unlike Ocean's 11 1960, they're not all talking about being troops in it, which is helpful.
But the other thing that is different is that they don't explain the plan properly, and it sounds bad and hard and like it would suck.
Yeah.
Which is a real key difference from the last one where the plan sounded like fucking so smart and so easy.
Yeah.
like a no-brainer.
They don't explain the plan because there's like twists to it which we find out as we go.
Yeah. They sort of explain how the plan is going to be hard. They just sort of like say what all the problems are going to be first.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the question for a filmmaker here is, how do you shoot a slideshow in a way that's interesting? And the answer is you use it to deliver next to no plot. You use it to establish stakes, and you rely on like Brad Pitt and George Clooney for charisma, which is what happens.
I don't know. Star Trek TNG did it all the time when we had briefings for the senior officers. They just have slideshows and they just fucking filmed them.
Yeah, well, you know, it's maybe it's a difference in TV and film. Maybe it's just a confidence thing. I don't know, but yeah.
Anyway,
also makes a rare good fist of untranslated foreign language because the Chinese gymnast guy is like asks a question in Chinese and Brad Pitt answers him in English.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, we already thought of that. It's cool.
There's a joke going like with that where they all can understand him. And then there's also a joke where they can never understand Don Cheadle because he's just too, oi, crikey, governor, in it, cheerio. But I'm so disappointed by this. They never bring it together. They never do a scene where it's like, well, you get what he's saying. Why don't you understand what I'm saying? The accent is barely there.
Brad Pitt speaking fluent Mandarin and then turning to Don Cheadle like, what?
Be like, what are you talking about?
So Danny Ocean's like, there's going to be lots of security codes. There's fingerprints. There's voice recognition. There's motion detectors. There's armed guards and a big fucking door.
It's functionally, we're hyping the security here. We're like, this is going to be so hard.
Yeah.
We also find out the stakes, which is there's like $120 million in
150
at
least.
Excuse me, 150 million.
Fight night.
It's Fight Night.
Tyson v.
$150 million
Paul.
in the vault, split 11 ways. That's less however much it costs you to do all of this shit. I have to talk about the sort of like stakes here, right? Because what you're getting away with is, say, $12 million each in criminal income that you have to launder, which is going to take even more money off of it. And you think about how much money rich people spend. Like $12 million to like a rich person is like a small real estate deal that went well. And I'm not talking about like Donald Trump here. I'm talking about like a guy who owns a chain of car dealerships.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to establish like the kind of scale of money here. We'll get to this later as well, because the fantasy is of making that money in a cool way. You know, you look at that and you're like, $12 million, that's so much money. And it is, but it's also not a lot of money to rich people. And so in a way, there's some class character going on here. And we'll get more into that when we meet Andy Garcia's character.
Well, there's a principle in screenwriting that money is only as interesting as what the characters intend to do with it. And in this case, money is a vehicle to looking cool in front of your boys and impressing your dad.
Yes.
That's what it is. And also like getting women.
It's all going into the tuxedo budget.
Yeah, no, hugely.
Yeah. Also, what you would do with it if you stole that much money, you would then invest it in the stock market, and then you wouldn't actually, sell. You wouldn't really do anything with that. You just get a stock portfolio and then borrow on margin for your day-to-day living expenses against the value of that portfolio.
Yeah, it's
just
process.
hypothetically saying if somebody stole a lot of money, that's what I do with it.
And if you buy like a farm or something, you won't have to do inheritance tax, so you can just pass that one off.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Easy peasy.
What you do, right, is you do the heist and then you buy a bunch of buy-to-let flats. And then you just hand that to a letting agency. You never talk to them again. And yeah, that's...
You don't have to talk to him again. You don't have to
Free
change your
money.
address
No.
from what the flat used to be. If you're my landlord, a lot of NHS letters keep coming for you, and I don't know how to get them to you.
My landlord to my new address is getting an increasing number of more threatening looking HMRC letters, and I'm just like,
Wow,
this
that's a shame, brother.
this guy has pulled an interesting kind of thing before moving to Saudi Arabia.
I get those too. They're addressed to the owner, and I'm just like, that goes straight in the bin.
I'm like,
man.
that's not me.
I can't open that.
Yeah.
Not my fucking
I'm not
problem.
getting into your tax affairs. So
Yeah. Now, listeners, the first job is to hack the security system so we can see all the camera feeds and see what's going on. And in order to do that, we're going to need to introduce something which we haven't seen in this film so far, and that is a woman.
true.
Oh, one of these.
I mean, because
Yeah.
these days your nervous IT guy would have to be a woman, and to be honest, he looks like he's headed that way already.
Yes.
But no, so we need to have a woman who has lines. There was one in an earlier
Charmaine.
scene that Brad Pitt was talking to. She didn't have any lines, but now we need a woman with lines. She has one line and she's a stripper.
It's interesting as well that they're often strippers, because like when Brad Pitt is being picked up by Clooney, he is depressed in the worst strip club ever, where there are 3 strippers behind like kind of perspex glass.
Yeah,
and he's
I
just like
Yeah.
half-assedly watching them.
Yeah, it's just Natasha Kinski and Paris, Texas going on behind the poker game.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so this stripper has like gotten security guys like work ID off him, and there's a little like comic line where he's like, thanks, say hi to your mum for me, and she's like, oh, she's on stage in 5 minutes, and it's like, cool, okay.
That's the first time a woman has spoken in this film.
woman
It's
moment.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. she's one of only 2 women who do. It's not, so heisting is a homosocial activity.
Really.
So anyway, Livingston manages to get backstage. The others do some sort of misdirection involving balloons and the Mormon twins squabbling.
One of the brothers calls the others a balloon boy a bunch, which is fun.
I like the idea that they've like hired these 2 boys just because they're brothers, so they can argue with each other limitlessly over anything.
These are the 2 best oafs on the West Coast. Like,
yeah, so they tap into the security system. So now, right, cool, we can see everything they're seeing. We're going to build a replica of the vault so that we can rehearse in a warehouse. This is all being done within 2 weeks, actually, which is slightly odd.
crazy.
you're spending so much on building an exact replica of the vault. Like,
Also leaving a lot of traces as to what you're up to.
that's coming out of your paycheck. Like, that's taking you down from like $12 million to like $11 million.
Also, like, when did you get able to build a replica vault without anyone, like, if I was the FBI and I was investigating this, first thing I would do is be like, well, who ordered all this vault stuff?
One vault door, please. Why are you installing it in this warehouse?
This is paid for by a Mr. D Ocean on debit card. Like,
Oh. Yeah, there's just like a nearby warehouse where they're just building a pure replica of like the vault.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
of the 11
Yeah.
was a set designer? First of all,
right,
like,
none of them are gay as far as we know, so, like, I don't know.
That's fucked up. At least one of them should be.
I mean,
Right?
that's
You would
kind
think.
of the thing is like George Clooney and Brad Pitt are gay and married.
They are gay.
Like they
are,
do
yes.
love to like cry at TV together, but like
Elliot Gould's also gay.
Yes, but in a
His
different
character. Yeah.
a different
Oh, yeah.
way. So, but Bernie Mac infiltrates the Bellagio and like takes notes on all the staff and everything.
Bernie Mac also gets them a couple of getaway vans
Yes.
by going to a secondhand van salesman and just being really weird to him.
yeah.
He
Yes.
holds a handshake way too long and is squeezing. He literally strong arms the guy.
Mhm.
He's squeezing the absolute fuck out of his hand. There's a great shot when he lets go of him. You can see the other actor's hand is like properly like blanched. Yeah.
Yeah, all you have to do to get a good deal on a car is commit assault.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but
I'm never gonna say you
America.
shouldn't like physically overpower car salesmen, right?
I'm saying it might impact your ability to like conclude that deal, but like do that at your own risk, honestly.
Yeah, how many functioning hands do you need to sell cars? Squeezing. It becomes a better car salesman, like Dr. No.
At this point, we need to meet the villain of the film,
Oh
which is Andy Garcia as Casino's Dracula.
Yeah. Andy Garcia, we were talking about that non-stop, me and Beck, while we watched this. Like, is there a role where he doesn't look like a vampire in it?
No, he really leans into
With
the
his little, like,
hairline.
wing collars. And the thing is, like, He looks like this is what Diabolic did after the heist. Like Ava has left Diabolic and now he's set up a casino and has tried to go semi-legit and he fucking hates it because he's not out there stealing shit.
There's a few things that I really want to get into about the introduction of Andy Garcia. First of all, they set Matt Damon to watch him, right?
Yeah.
And so his role is now to be Andy Garcia's hype man. But the way he introduces him is 2 sentences back to back that made me laugh really hard. If you forget he works in a casino, he's a machine. He gets to work at 2 p.m.
Oh, he's a podcaster. Cool.
Yeah. And so the other thing is, we go, yeah, he knows all the pit bosses' names and shit. Not bad
he did
for a guy
casino
worth
studies at Harvard.
not
He's got
bad
2
for a
dicks.
guy worth $750 million. And if I want to talk about that as well, because like $750 million in 2001 money, well over $1 billion now. That is a great unspoken example of the kind of stakes here and how the movie has to like make that not matter. It has to talk quickly and hustle you past this as a kind of instrumentality to get you to the heist. Because if you think about how that kind of wealth disparity actually works, you make $12 million off this guy, and he is like following you with his special kneecap busting hammer for the rest of your life. That's like, I don't know, chain of dentists money. That's like unusually successful Twitch streamer money. $750 million is like die rich, whatever you do money.
Yeah, you can't fuck this up.
Yeah. And the one part of this that the movie actually tries to grapple with, and we'll get to why, and it's going to impact the M in the scum system, is that you can't meaningfully rob this guy of money.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a kind of there's a financial amount that some people have reached that you cannot be harmed financially. And that kind of like, it's a thing that you could play more on the, Danny's bullshit about the house always winning kind of, is like implicated here. But it just kind of has to go unspoken, because otherwise you've made the first communist heist movie and people come out of the theaters and go and like, beat casino owners to death with their hands. Oh, by the way, the other thing that makes him a machine is that he speaks 3 languages and he's learning Japanese, which is an interesting time capsule in that the whales from East Asia aren't Chinese yet.
Yeah.
He's also a vindictive bastard, and he's dating Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
Yes.
Julia fucking
Tess.
Roberts.
And Brad Pitt is like, oh, I know who that is because she's Danny Ocean's ex-wife.
She has this job where she's like, she runs the casino museum, which is such a like wife small business that loses $10K a month type beat.
Do you get a lot of visitors?
Yeah.
I really love the concept of, I go to a casino for the museums.
Like the upstairs museum at the casino. Like, you shut up, man.
Yeah.
Which one is this meant to be in?
It's in the Bellagio, I believe.
Yeah, is there an actual Bellagio museum?
I wouldn't be surprised, but it really just feels like a
Bellagio Gallery of Fine Art.
Yeah, probably.
Huh?
Yeah, but
really
no,
do?
I'm reading a wiki in a page now.
Oh god.
Oh, for money laundering.
Yeah.
Right. That's a joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Legally.
As
Legally,
we
that's
see
a-
her, there's 2 things going on here. Matt Damon is like, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. This is my highlight of my day as a surveillance creep. And then, to be honest, maybe it's just me, maybe it's the lighting or the costume, but Julia Roberts, they make Julia Roberts look mid in
She
this.
looks fucking tragic in this. It's such a shame.
She comes down and she looks like woman.jpg, and you're like,
I mean, she is a beautiful woman, and they're doing her dirty in every scene.
She looks like Julia from your work. She's got co-worker energy.
She's only the 2nd woman in the world, so maybe they just don't know how to film women.
They hadn't figured it out.
Like, she's only the 2nd woman in this fucking movie.
She
who
looks
has
like
lines.
the wife Jack, kind of. So, but the other thing about this is that Brad Pitt sees her and immediately puts his head in his hands, like, oh, fuck, okay, I know why we're doing this.
He puts his head in his hands and covers his face in shrimp because something that happens all throughout this film is that in almost every scene, Brad Pitt is eating, which was apparently just like a decision he made because he was like very hungry at the time. And they didn't give him a bucket, so during the filming of this particular scene, he apparently ate like 40 prawns.
That fucking rules. I love phrasing that as a decision he made because he was hungry at the time. That's also also the decision making behind me eating a lot of the time.
Well, no, apparently they were like filming long hours and like going over lunch breaks and stuff. So he's just like, fuck it, my character's eating. Like,
nice.
That's so funny.
Fuck continuity, I don't care.
So he has this confrontation with Danny where he's like, I know the reason why you're doing this. Tell me it's not just to get your ex-wife back from Andy Garcia, who stole your wife
with his vampiric powers.
And as he says, now we're stealing two things because women are objects.
Yes.
And also because Rusty is gay and jealous. Like, I do like how much this is a plausible reading of the thing.
He is gay and jealous, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, look, we want to steal the money. You want to get your wife back. If these two come into conflict, how the fuck are we ever going to trust that you're going to pick helping us get our money, bitch? And to this, Danny Ocean essentially goes, don't worry, yeah, you know, I'll be all right.
So Brad Pitt says, are we stealing the money or are we stealing Tess? Because she doesn't split 11 ways. And I'm like, well, have you asked her that?
Problems that will be easily solved with polyamory, etc., etc.
Yeah, right.
So Danny goes to meet Tess, and we have this kind of vaguely heist, vaguely romance scene. It's a bit like the Thomas Crown affair.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like meant to be scintillating.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting actually that what we established is that like she didn't know he was a thief until he was arrested and she divorced him while he was in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard ass line. She's like, did you get we're not married anymore. Did you get the divorce papers? And he was like, last day in jail. And she was like, I said I'd write.
It's good. It's a good script. But so now she's with Andy Garcia, who it seems just kind of treats her like furniture. We see him looking at some of the fine art and he's like, yeah, that's certainly an art. And Ocean's line here is, does he make you laugh? And she says, well, he doesn't make me cry. And so the implication there is like, you know, Danny Ocean is like, you know, kind of like real life, whereas this guy is just like, you know, convenience and kind of ease.
Well, I'm like $750 million.
Well, that's the ease. Buys you a lot of ease. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I would probably bet on Andy Garcia in that scenario, foolishly, in fact, because George Clooney is now a billionaire because I had not considered tequila. But there you go.
So Andy Garcia finds them there, and we get this quite nicely acted bit of kind of simmering hostility. And I really like the kind of over-familiarity gambit because Ocean calls him by his first name. And then he matches him and calls him Danny, and it's like they're both. It's like, oh, these guys hate each other. Okay,
we get some great acting too. Where Andy Garcia says, without looking at George Clooney, whilst holding his wife's hand and making moony eyes at his wife, just be like, "Stay, have a drink," like knowing that he won't.
It's really good. Yeah,
it's really good.
But so we see Andy Garcia blows up Elliot Gould's old casino. Incredible Andy Garcia fit for this one. My man was wearing a white trench coat over a white cashmere sweater in the desert in summer, which is really...
He's a vampire.
Yeah, for real.
He's fucking Dracula.
Yeah.
He's Casino Dracula. At this point, Don Cheadle identifies a problem. I can't tell what it is because...
Don Cheadle identifies a problem. He says, he goes... We're in deep Barney. It's proper fucked in it because they did what we was going to do, but for fake, for real. So they like figured out what the problem that he was going to exploit to like cut the power was, right? But because like there was a power cut when they dropped that guy's casino or whatever. And he goes, fuck. So they fixed the thing I was going to exploit. So we need to like get an EMP from the California Institute of Technology just casually tonight.
We just need to buy a nuke. That's going to cut into the whole budget, but like we need a nuke.
And he does it all in Cockney voice. He's like, oh, geez, we need ourselves a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, your take from this is going down to like $200,000 at this point. But so they go and rob the California Institute of Technology.
This is a different crime. This is just a fully different crime you're also doing that is traceable, because all 10 of you went in a van.
The same van that you're going to use.
And didn't even wear gloves. Didn't even wear masks.
What are you doing?
They let a bunch of security guards see the van and its license plates on the way out.
Yeah. But Matt Damon is like, he doesn't want to stay in the van with the two squabbling brothers, so he goes in.
Classic.
Just as the others are walking out. Yeah,
he really does. Yeah. I love the two Mormon brothers because they try and play 20 questions, and one of them, like, it's implied they do this so often that it's always Evel Knievel. Yeah. So they get it within 2 questions. It's like, are you a man? Yes. Are you white? Yes. Evel Knievel.
Fuck. It's so good.
And this like descends into bickering. Yeah, and he just goes on a cousin walk.
He's like, I can't do this. I gotta get out of here. I gotta leave my heist van.
He fucks up and nearly gets caught, and then gets reprimanded. On the way out, as he has to chase the van and get picked up by them, Yen's fingers get broken in the door.
Man's having a bad time with his hands in this movie. I will say also, so Ocean has to reprimand him. There's no real like menace in it. It's not like heat. It's more like the line is like, in this business you can't lose a second or whatever, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, the vibe is not like, we will kill you now. Yeah, there is no Waingro in this crew.
Yeah, it's, we'll stop being your friend. Like
yeah,
there isn't a Waingro, is there?
Yeah, the Waingro levels are at 0.
This is a Waingro-less heist. I mean, I guess Danny Ocean is his own Waingro because he won't stop fucking his own heist up.
That's kind of true.
Yeah, but he won't kill people.
Yeah, that's true. We can't dilute Waingro this early.
Because the Waingro remains a kind of like, not just uncontrollability, but like particularly in violence and like unlikability. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. The Waingro is a confounding variable that's not present in Ocean's 11, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is why the heist goes smoothly.
Yeah.
They identify another problem, though, which is that Danny has now been red flagged by casino security.
Yeah, because he went and like tried to have dinner with the guy's wife.
Yeah.
Of course he has.
Like, everyone's like, why did they fucking red flag you, Danny? And he's like, I went to go talk to my ex-wife, and everyone gets mad at him. And they kick him off.
He's fired from
They fire him from the heist. They go, you're out of the Rat Pack. Hand in your fucking badge and gun.
Stop singing.
Yeah, it was Ocean's 11. Now it's nobody's 10.
Yeah, I guess it's fucking Rusty's 10.
Rusty's 10, baby.
Sounds like a horrifying cocktail that you would regret.
And they're like, you know what? You know who's going to have to step up and do your job now is Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's so funny because the job that Matt Damon gets drafted in that Danny was going to have to do involves a prolonged period of talking to Andy Garcia and convincing him you're someone else. And he is, when Andy Garcia sees Sean Clooney, he's like, that's Danny Ocean.
That's Danny Ocean, that is. I know, because he was married to my wife.
So it wouldn't have fucking worked anyway.
I recognize everyone who is married to my wife by sight. That's just something about me.
Not bad for $250 million.
As we later established, this is in fact a setup.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make sense.
We get some vintage bullshit here because Matt Damon is like suited up and in character, and Brad Pitt is like, don't look up or down or to the left because they'll know that you're lying. This is the kind of like pseudoscience, like Texas has probably executed innocent people based off of this movie being half remembered, you know, and being like, oh, you know, it looks left, so therefore he killed all those people. Also, I this is where my notes say Saul looks disconcertingly like Jeffrey Tambor in Arrested Development because he's also playing a character. He's playing this kind of like arms dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's inculcated himself with Terry as the high roller, and he's like, so Andy Garcia, I'm gonna have a briefcase delivered to the casino tomorrow. It's very important. Can I please put it in the vault, please, pretty please?
Yeah.
And Terry Brenner's like, yeah, okay, fine. So this briefcase arrives via courier, and they kind of walk it down to the vault. There's a funny moment where an old friend of Saul's recognizes him and calls him Saul, but he styles it out, and it's just like, take him away. And the two Mormon brothers just crack this old man away.
The Mormon brothers as bodyguards is a fun bit. They also see Danny Ocean playing the slots, and Andy Garcia goes, right, activate the Blowjob brothers, because two plainclothes men who you can tell are bad news because they also have the fuck-ass prison goatee. Two wide goateed men just kind of like follow Danny around for the rest of this scene. And love these guys.
Well, they take him in, actually. They take him down to a room underneath the casino with no cameras, for the implication being that they're going to beat the shit out of him.
Get the shit kicked out of you, right?
You may not know this, but like 3/4 of the men in Las Vegas have that goatee. Like if you ever watch Pawn Stars, one of the greatest American television shows, it's just a parade of men with that exact goatee.
Las Vegas has like the highest concentration of bruisers in the general population of like any city in America.
Bullies, things of this nature.
Bouncers,
So Matt Damon and Bernie Mac run this scam where Matt Damon works for the Gaming Commission and correctly and identifies Bernie Mac's real crimes and like real identity.
That guy's Bernie Mac. He's like, oh shit.
I work for the Gaming Commission. What's up, gamers? So of course nowadays the gamers run illegal gambling scams all the time.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bernie Mac gets to do some comedy. Largely, this comedy is focused on tactically playing the race card.
Yeah.
Because he accuses the Gaming Commission of being racist. Which is
gamer words.
Yeah. The line that's always memorable for me is it should be called White Jack.
Really
good. And Matt Damon like helps him out on this by saying something else racist. And Andy Garcia is like, okay, I don't have time for whatever this fucking comedy is. I have to go and watch Lennox Lewis kill a guy. So
yeah. Let's go and watch Paul v. Tyson.
Yeah, in one of the shots of Paul v. Tyson, we get to see one of the guys who was in the original Ocean's 11, Brian Silver, just briefly, just through the movie. And I was like, oh, there he is.
That's how you do a cameo. That's how you do a cameo. You just have him walk past and you don't make anything. It's not like fucking Red Skeleton where he's got his whole fucking scene.
So Danny Ocean is in a Red Skeleton memorial, get the shit kicked out of you room.
Yeah. I fucking hate to be in there.
A third blowjob brother enters the fucking scene. A third goateed man.
This is a Mongo.
Yeah,
it is.
The Mongo.
It is.
This is Heist's Mongo.
It is. Enters the thing, and his job is clearly to kick the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, because he knows Danny. Because when he closes the door, Danny's like, how's your wife? And he's like, oh, and he's going to help him out. And so Danny crawls into the air vents with this guy's assistance.
Yeah, he punches him prematurely. Like Danny Ocean gets a nice sock to the face, and then he's like, come on, dude. He's like, oh yeah, sorry, I got too excited.
It's also the worst stage punch you'll see in a minute. It misses him like visibly by about a foot.
Matt Damon, in the course of running this little distraction gambit with Andy Garcia, manages to pickpocket the codes for the vault door from him.
Yes.
And then makes his way down to the vault. They've hacked the cameras so that it's just playing like a video of an empty corridor.
Yeah, the speed gambit.
Yeah. Saul fakes a collapse in the security room, distracting the guards, enabling him to do this. And then Brad Pitt comes in posing as a doctor and has just like so much fun.
Disguise bullshit.
It's way too fucking much.
And, like the Mormon brothers are paramedics. Like it's very.
I love the Mormon brothers kind of factotum role. You know.
And I love that Brad Pitt is being this like overly dramatic doctor who clearly doesn't know how to do CPR. Yeah, it's good fun. So they get Saul out of there on a stretcher. And meanwhile, Matt Damon and Danny Ocean zip line down to the vault when the power gets cut out. And we learned that the entire setup of like Danny being fired was a setup to get Matt Damon ready to prove himself to his dad, which great, that's nice. I love when my friends get together and decide I need to prove myself to my father and conduct an elaborate heist without my knowledge or his.
We're heisting two things here: $160 million and Matt Damon's anxiety.
You are good enough, Matt Damon. You can do.
They knock out two guards with a little like knockout gas. We love a gas.
Gas making a late appearance in the film.
Here we go.
My note just says I'm on that good knockout gas. And we install some devices. The Chinese gymnast is inside the vault, having been smuggled in.
Yeah, they wheeled him in there in a cash box, and he like contorted himself inside.
Yeah, sick. This looks fucking horrifying. I hate that as night so much. He's inside this tiny little box. Just
yeah, he just folds over. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I don't quite remember what happens.
I really like that both of the movie and the heist, like itself, both sort of diegetically and non-diegetically bring him in to do one backflip no one else can do.
Yeah. It's that backflip that sells him. Like they're like, get the backflip guy. Get this.
That's a $12 million backflip because he has to backflip off of the cash box onto one of the like pieces of vault shelving to open the door for them. He gets his hand stuck in the vault door for tension and like almost like, you know, blow off his hand, which
because his cast gets caught in the door. So that's like the one consequence of them robbing that university. Like nothing else matters, even though their faces and license plate and everything we're seeing. It's just that he broke his fingers and now his cast is stuck and he might explode.
Yes. And he might explode.
So we make it into the vault. We've got our hands on the cash, but we've still got to fucking get it out of the casino. And like $160 million in cash is big and heavy. So how are we going to do that?
Tyson v. Paul is going. And Andy Garcia and Julia Roberts are ringside. And the power goes out for this. Chaos. Like Don Cheadle fires off the EMP to get them into the vault.
Every time he's in the movie, I'm laughing out loud. I'm sorry. I know he's trying.
I'm detonating an electromagnetic pulse device, innit?
Oh, I've got to blow the bloody doors off.
He does, in fact, blow the bloody doors off a van. This movie loves a van. Predominantly, this movie is about vans. But, like, the thing descends into chaos.
Yes.
And at this point, Rusty calls a cell phone that Danny had planted in Julia Roberts' pocket and talks to Andy Garcia and is like, hello, we are going to take half of the money in your vault. We have planted explosives in the bags that we are taking and in the vault itself. So we are going to walk straight out of the casino, put the money in a van, and if you try and stop us, we are going to blow it up and it's all going to go. So you can either lose $160 million publicly, or you can quietly let us walk away with $80 million.
Smart.
It's one of those things that sounds clever, right?
Yeah. I'm like, no.
Julia Roberts finds Brad Pitt on the casino floor, like walking around and confronts him. But ostensibly, Andy Garcia goes for this.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's calling the police behind the back. And then when they're like, okay, SWAT team's on the way, he's like, change of plan, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
I'm going to like drink your blood. I'm going to use your testicles for craps dice. I'm gonna give you a gambling addiction, and really that's gonna be a lot worse, you know.
The other thing, the thing that I like about this as well is once again with the romance angle, Garcia is much more alive and horny, threatening Brad Pitt over the phone than he ever is to Julia Roberts. He's thriving. He's moisturized. He's having a great time being like, I am gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you on like 7 different continents. Meanwhile, when he's with Julia Roberts, he's like, yeah, it's a nice like Vermeer or whatever.
He's like, whatever.
Or is it a Van Meegeren?
Women are boring. Heists are fun. This is a key point.
Heist days are for the boys.
Yeah,
might go to heist with the boys, but I wake up in jail with the men in the morning. Is that anything?
Sure. Yeah, it's happened to me,
but I really like it.
It's Danny Ocean, yeah.
So they load the money into the vans, which is driven away. It's being followed. The SWAT burst into the vault, and we hear over the monitors this firefight. Explosives are going off, so the money gets destroyed, and it looks like everyone's been fucking killed, and the SWAT have just gone in and like wasted everybody. The van is followed to the airport. They shoot out the tires, and then they're like, "Oh, the van is empty, and it's fucking being remote controlled." And the SWAT team are like, there's no bodies in the vault. They've just fucking vanished.
And they blow up that van.
Sick.
The van gets blown up.
They explode it at an airport, and this movie came out like 2 months after 9/11.
Yeah. No, it did.
Like there was a brief hangover period in the 2000s where you could go onto an airport without getting the instant 5-star wanted level.
Yeah. You know? And like,
the
one thing that they changed for 9/11 was the demolition of the building. They did like a special effect CGI demolition instead of the real building that they filmed falling down because they thought it looked a little too much like the Twin Towers collapsing.
God, I suppose that makes sense.
But blowing up a van at an airport, totally fine. Yeah,
totally fine.
So Andy Garcia goes down into the vault, sees the like ruins of like all of his money, and instantly figures this shit out. World's greatest detective. figures out that this is the Ella Fitzgerald off of the list. It's a reference to a Memorex commercial. You tell me.
Is it real or is it Memorex?
These motherfuckers built a 1-to-1 replica of our vault. They built a fake vault in order to trick us into doing this, and the SWAT team were the Ocean's 11.
Yeah, they were the Oceans.
When the SWAT team came in, they brought a bunch of more SWAT uniforms, and then just the guys in the vault changed into them, and then they just picked up the money and walked straight out past Andy Garcia. And this is all shown in a flashback, at which point the saxophonist is like, fuck, he's coming.
He's eating that thing alive. Yeah, no, just...
So he goes to Danny Ocean, who is still like captured in his in the red skeleton room.
Of course, that's his alibi, is that he's been getting beaten up the whole time.
I'm in here having had the shit kicked out of me, pal.
But when Andy Garcia is walking to the Red Skeleton Memorial, getting the shit kicked out of your room,
he walks so weird.
He walks like he's done too much tricep day. He's like, his like arms are like held out from him, like he's worked out too much.
There's only one other actor I've seen walk like that, and it's Lance Reddick. Like, I've seen Lance Reddick do that same walk with the arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Odd. Very odd.
Really strange.
Like he's been hanging from his wrists for too long, and now it's just...
Anyway, meanwhile, the SWAT guys are long since gone in their SWAT van. This movie loves a van. Vans are the real stars, which it's so glad to see someone highlighting the real heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny Ocean passes the speech
shoe
check.
shopping with lesbians. The Vans are the real stars.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Danny stars it out. He's like, I've been getting the shit kicked out of me in here the whole time. What do you want from me?
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, fine, go call the cops because he's in violation of his parole. And get him the fuck out of my casino.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we have to heist the woman, right? Because we're stealing two things.
Yes.
And so we get the gambit here, which is Brad Pitt tells Julia Roberts, go home, go to your hotel room, watch TV, turn to this channel. She does, and it's been rerouted by the IT guy to the camera feed from this hallway, where she sees Danny Ocean go, if I could get you your money back, but you had to give up your wife, would you make that deal? And he's like, yeah, I fucking hate my wife and I love money.
Yeah.
I love money.
Fucking love money.
To be fair, I would understand if my partner left me for $160 million.
I wouldn't.
No, I think I would probably Julia Roberts.
I'm worth more than that.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I would understand. That's a lot of money.
But
yeah, but money, it's not that important, really.
Yeah.
It's like a little important.
For it says for richer, for poorer, not just for poorer.
There's diminishing returns past a certain amount. I always tend to.
But also, like, it's not some kind of like ironclad contract here. Like, I get to have your wife if I give your money back. That's presumably not how it works.
Yeah. I don't see any eventuality where she ends up with Danny Ocean after this, right? Being like, what if you sold me your wife?
It's weird that she goes back to him.
You could pretty readily be like, bro, I was lying to him. Like, obviously I was gonna get him to get my money back and then have him killed.
Yeah.
How would that even work?
Like,
why does this convince you that he loves you?
Like, thankfully she has nothing going on as far as a personality in this movie. So she's like, well, I have two guys that I can be with in all of existence. So it's either the guy who just said he doesn't want me around or the guy that I left because he also sucked shit.
Yeah, the kind of the script here is like Danny Ocean is the only guy with an actual human soul, whereas Andy Garcia is like an evil vampire NPC.
He is, yes.
And so like he makes her feel things, and like he might be a thief and a liar, but they have each other. He does
look like George Clooney.
And he looks like George Clooney, and he now has like dentist money. So
and makes a damn good tequila. I've never tried it.
It's not very good.
No, I've just found out about this.
Yeah,
so cool.
She leaves. She sees Andy Garcia on the way out, and she's like, I know what you did. In another speech check, in another like callback thing.
I'm breaking up with you.
And then she sees Danny being bundled into the back of a police car, and she's like, when will I see you again? He's like, 3 to 6 months. We had a very cute thing where the title card is 3 to 6 months later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he is getting out of...
Now it's time for some last-minute homophobia.
Yes.
And sexism.
Yes. Well, he gets out of prison in the same tuxedo, which is a fun bit and is like charming. I'm having a good time with the movie. And Brad Pitt's shitty line is, "I hope you were the groom," which in the dying seconds of this movie, we have to get some 2000s like homophobia prison rape joke. And it just fucking
like throwing it
sucks.
through the closing door like Indiana Jones grabbing his hat, just like you nearly made it out of there without
such a shame.
the 2000s
Throwing my
homophobia.
homophobic hat through.
Yeah, I guess the hat is homophobic in this.
Well, he also follows it up by saying, "I hope you don't mind, I stopped off to pick up your personal effects." Danny looks in the car, says, "I'm not sure these belong to me." And then we get the reverse shot where it's Julia Roberts. And it's like, you've said the quiet part out loud in this film, which is that the woman is a thing. The woman is a thing that you are stealing.
They won't stop saying that the woman's an object, like the whole movie. Yeah.
Women are a kind of treasure. And she's wearing her wedding ring again. And also her hair is down now.
Yeah. In 2001, women loved this kind of thing, supposedly. Men thought women loved this kind of thing.
When the fuck did Tate?
That's my point, right? 2001. This is what people like. This is what men decided women loved. That's always been something that there is a certain like staying power to establish.
The average protagonist in the mid 2000s was like divorced, like was ex-husband. The main girl was always like divorced wife, and she had like a new boyfriend who was being shitty, and like that is the core of every 2000s movie.
It doesn't help that most movies are written by scriptwriters, and scriptwriters are in general the most divorced population on earth.
Yes.
Hey.
Listen.
You have to get married first, but
I just watched Twister for the first time just a couple months ago because I had never seen Twister, and it's like at the very beginning it's like divorce, and I'm like, oh yeah, Michael Crichton wrote this.
You know, it's a great divorce guy movie that's also a heist movie is Con Air.
Yeah,
Con Air is a fantastic divorce guy movie. Yeah,
Twister is such a good divorced guy movie.
Yeah.
Fuck, how is divorce such a strong... What was going on in the early 2000s? Like the emancipation of women, I guess.
We got No Fault Divorce, and then every movie became about that.
Like, all the women keep leaving us for no reason.
My wife keeps fucking Carrie Elwes or Andy Garcia or whoever, and I'm sick of it.
Listen up, liberal. My wife left me. Damn.
Oh god, yeah, no, I'm gonna make you guys watch Twisters.
When did No Fault Divorce come in? Actually, explicit.
That's a good question.
Cultural insecurity.
Ocean's 11. It's a divorce movie. It just is.
Yeah,
but it's also a heist movie, and it's one that's like tremendously influential, right? Because the contours of a heist movie, just to really lay this down, are you are trying to crisp and potato snacks the movie, and it won't let you because it withholds information tactically, and so it's like, here is stuff that makes sense in hindsight, and you go, oh, that's how, but there was not a way you could have put it together.
And that's why they dress like magicians. It's a magic show.
Yes.
You are enjoying the experience of being tricked, is what a heist film is, or is in this specific like manifestation.
Aesthetically, you need saxophone music and split screens.
Yes.
Those are the two things you have to have.
And a lot of like planning music and a montage where you assemble the crew. Yes. But for something that like has been so like widely influential in terms of like setting up the conventions of these things, what did we think about Ocean's 11 just to actually watch? What kind of time did we have seeing this?
I had a pretty good time watching Ocean's 11. I gotta be honest with you. I had a good time.
It was fun. It mostly still holds up, you know, misogyny and so on aside. It's fun. It doesn't feel like it's overindulgent. It seems like they had fun doing it. Don Cheadle not included.
Yeah, apart from one. Other than that, if you forget Don Cheadle, it's a really good movie.
I'll say this is a fuck of a lot better than the 60s one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, mostly because I can tell who everyone is.
Like, this has personality. I mean, I do love
actually about at a level for me for different reasons.
I do love that final beat of the original movie. Like, there's something that's just so good about, like, they've gone through all these lengths. Their friend dies. They dig him up to put money under him. And then it all just sets on fire at the end.
Yeah.
Whereas
it's them getting the money at the end is that's one of the main points of difference from the 60s one, is that they do actually get away with the cash.
Yeah. Because they don't have to deal with the Hays Code.
Yeah, true.
The sequel hook is that they are being followed down the road by Andy Garcia's boys.
Yeah.
The Blowjob Brothers.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of Steven Soderbergh movies quite a lot, but I've always kind of found the Ocean's movies like mid.
Steven Diet Soderbergh, if you will.
Yeah. Like, I like a lot of the crazy shit that he's doing. And it's like, it's clear as a director, he's having a lot of fun. And it's clear that a lot of the actors are having a lot of fun and eating a lot of food. But the overall effect of it is just like, okay, here's some more bullshit that they're doing.
Yeah,
that's sort of like very much so. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed watching, like, you know, the tweet about seeing like a beautiful face huge, seeing George Clooney on a big TV. It's like, it's cool. Nice, it's worthwhile. They do shoot this movie in an alarmingly golden color grade.
Yeah. Yes.
To reinforce the ideas of like money, you know. But it does have a bit of the, like, you displace that into a future cinematic language, you're like, I didn't realize Las Vegas was in Mexico. but we don't have to be sort of like impressionistic about this, because we have a science-based system.
That's true.
It's called the SCUM system. It stands for SMARM: cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. How smarmy is Ocean's 11 2001?
I mean, it's nothing but lines, right?
It's got to be relatively high. There's a bit where Ocean's doing the kind of like speech about the house, you know, why the house always wins. That afterwards he does the Marvel thing of like, did you like the speech? It wasn't too much. I wasn't like, you know, kind of like meta.
Yeah, it gets a couple of moments of like Marvel dialogue in there, certainly. But I think the biggest problem is we're gonna have like very high baseline SMARM for like heist movies, because they love to explain what they've done, and that's always like a kind of thing to do. So I mean, 5 probably, like 6.
We gave the previous one 7.
It was less smarmy than that. Yeah,
I think it's less smarmy than this. Yeah, I think
6.
Yeah, I think 5 or 6. I think the thing is that you're right that a heist film is as a high smarm thing, and maybe the like a low smarm heist film is just a sparkling robbery film, and the smarm is an essential kind of aspect to it. But yeah, I'll go 5, I think, for this.
Yeah, 5 makes sense.
To me. Cultural insensitivity. I mean,
it's no omission, all right, because we've got Bernie Mac, we've got Don Cheadle, we've got the contortionist fella,
the Chinese gymnast.
We've got Elliot Gould. We've got the guy who looks like Jeffrey Tambor, whose name I don't remember.
Carl Reiner.
Carl Reiner.
I'm here to remember him.
Trading a little bit on Jewish stereotypes, I think.
Yes.
It's not that good. I mean, it doesn't really do a ton. The
curious, like, racial othering of Yen, the Chinese gymnast, who gets like, who's basically, his deal is Chinese gymnast, and they play as heavily on one as the other. And who gets like. True. He has one line in English, which is for comedy value, and it trades on him having like a kind of heavily accented English.
Yes, I do want to punish him for that.
They get in the vault. He goes like, "Where the fuck have you been?" in a heavy accent, and it's like, okay, that's what the movie spends its one fuck on as well.
Yeah,
which I think that becomes the thing for the whole trilogy too. Is he always gets one English line with a profanity?
Yeah,
God damn it. I want to take it up to like a 4 just for that.
Okay, 4. Unprovoked violence. None, I guess. There's not really any violence in
there's that punch in the face from the one.
But that's just misunderstanding, really.
Yeah,
like,
there's nothing like unprovoked, I don't think.
Yeah, the film is not asking us to endorse any like morally questionable violence.
No. So I think we would just flatly say 0. Yeah. Now
misogyny.
Claws it back on this one. We don't even worry about that one.
Yeah. There are 2 women in the world.
Yeah.
And they are you're either be stripper or thing.
Stripper or ex-wife. Again, screenwriters.
Personal effect.
Yeah. In fairness, right, I want to be 1 point of forgiving towards this, in that they do try to make it seem like there is an actual like romance and a romantic attraction there. It's not just like, this is your wife who you are entitled to. It's, this is your wife who you make laugh and who likes you and stuff. That to me strikes me as
They mostly tell you that rather than show it, though.
Maybe, but I'm applying the Carol Pateman metric here, and I'm deducing that the women in these heist films exist for men.
Yeah.
And the whole making her laugh thing, it just makes her seem like a simpleton. Like he told her how, you know, why did the chicken cross the road? And she's like, this man is a genius. I will die with him.
What is a joke but a kind of heist?
Yeah, she has no reason to go back to him at the end. You know, she could just as easily have gone like
laugh.
She could just easily have gone, you know, a plague on both your houses and left them. Like,
and it doesn't even go into a realm of like making her just weird, where she's just really into whoever is the most fucked up guy. She's like, well, he stole your money. That's kind of awesome. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah. And you have 11 heist operatives, and all of them are men. Every single one.
Statistically unlikely.
Just one of them should have just been a woman. Like, it would have been nothing. It would have been one of the two brothers who are arguing they could be siblings. There you go. Done, sorted.
What if...
Like, it's nothing.
What if 8 of them were women? What if they were all women?
Hold on.
And what if a certain blonde New York actor was in the background of that movie frequently? I'm talking about myself.
Oh, damn, for real?
We could have a movie about women.
Yeah, I'm an extra in Ocean's 8.
Oh my god,
great. That's great.
For you so strong.
Revealing this at the last moment.
That's my heist. That's my heist.
What the fuck did you tell me to wait a couple of weeks?
We've been heisted
because it's not that good of a movie. I mean, you know.
we will be highly complimentary about you when we do it.
Whoa. This film made me really interested in the prospect of Ocean's 8 because this film is basically saying that like heists are a homosocial activity for the boys. Yeah. I'm like, can you make a heist movie for women? Because this film is all about how heisting is for the boys. It is to prove yourself to other men and to have fun in a homosocial way. So I'm like, for whom is the female heist?
What if they steal?
Let's find out.
Money, I guess.
But also why? You know, interesting.
Yeah, to get the ex-husband.
Misogyny of this film, I think it's pretty high.
Yeah, pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I want to give it to like, I don't know, like a 5 or something.
I think you're being generous today, but all right.
I feel so.
You're in a soft mood today, and I'm not.
No, this is objective.
That gives it 14, which I personally think is too generous.
Where would you put it?
I would have given it a higher misogyny score. I would have bumped it up a bit, but you know, it's a science-based system, and therefore it's achieved through consensus.
It is.
So that's pretty good. You know, it's the same as Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. If you're interested,
that sounds about right to me. That
it's a decent OSS Saundy set.
Yeah, that all tracks. I mean, it's a science-based system.
It's like a Craig Bond.
2001 was crazy, man. I just clicked on a link that said this was the fifth highest grossing. Yeah, that was one of the main things. 5th highest grossing film in 2001. I've just looked at the top ranks, and it's like Harry Potter 1, Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring, Monsters Inc., Shrek.
Damn.
The first Fast and Furious movie as well. Like, people were cracking things out in 2001.
What a year.
Incredible year for everything apart from buildings.
The one true masterpiece that came out in 2001, Josie and the Pussycats, flopped.
I thought you were going to say 9/11.
No, 9/11 did very well, actually. 9/11 did excellently at the box office.
Do we want to award any Kronstein Rosettes or Goodnight Crosses here? I don't know that we do.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Anyone who goes above and beyond? No. Don Cheadle's accent. Don Cheadle's agent. We'd like to give a Kronstein Rosette to Don Cheadle's agent.
Yeah, because they were working for evil by telling him to keep going with that accent.
Yeah, and they went above and beyond.
No, I support that. I love the way that American agents work because they're like, yeah, they'll fucking back you. They'll back you 110%.
They sort of back me less in this scenario.
Yeah, but in general, it's really good that you do.
Yeah,
this is why I like my American manager because they've always got my back. They've always got a word of encouragement. I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh, I would be nothing but disappointing if I had a manager. Like, get out of bed, get the fuck out of bed. I'm like, no, I'm depressed.
Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11.
What a film. Yeah. We got 3 more of these to go. 2 more of these to go. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm having a great time. Brian, if the people want more Brian, where can they find more Brian?
Oh God, the idea
of background of Ocean's 8.
I've never been familiar with the concept of people wanting more Brian, but
Wait a minute, there's a business card in my pocket that just has the worst of all possible worlds written on it.
It just says worst of all possible worlds on one side, drug dealer on the other. I forgot to put my name or contact info. You can find me on the podcast, The Worst of All Possible Worlds. I host that with my friends Josh and AJ. It's maybe the most American podcast of all time. We talk about deeply, horrifically American things like evangelical culture, movies, TV, basically as sort of case studies in what America is and what does its decline currently look like.
We're going to need 3 evangelical podcast hosts.
Check it out, folks.
And you can find me on social media. I'm on Twitter still. I just never delete any of my social media accounts. I'm on Blue Sky and I'm on Instagram, all as @Spock's Brian, a reference to the infamous Star Trek episode, Spock's Brain. And
nice.
Blue Sky's the one I'm like the most, like that's the one I use the most. And I post my pictures and stuff.
Too, nowadays.
Mostly because that's where I actually get like likes and follows. So
horrifying.
I need attention.
Check out The Worst of All Possible Worlds.
Yeah,
I'd recommend any episode, but like both Nova and I have been on. So if you need a nice on ramp, listen to one of those. But like they're good. They're good episodes.
This is great to about Hitman.
Yeah, they're all fabulous episodes. We haven't had Abby on yet.
Go listen to some fucking kids radio at some point.
We have a Patreon. You can subscribe to it. Our next bonus episode is going to be...
Previous was Spice World, so the next one is going to be...
It's my pick next, I think.
I think we promised this to someone on the 4th.
Oh,
we did.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Anyway,
we have a Patreon. We'll figure out what the next bonus episode is. In the meantime, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. In 2 weeks' time on the free feed, you'd better believe it's Ocean's 12, the sequel to Ocean's 11. But if that is simply too long for you to wait, you can head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/killjamesbond, and sign up today for £5 a month. And our next episode, next week, will be In Order of Disappearance with a special guest. Special thanks, of course, to our £15 and above patrons, who are better than our normal patrons by dint of having given us £15 or above. That's our specific and only cutoff that we use to tell who's really about it and who isn't. Gilded Dragon, Lo Bjornsdottir, Candy Fox, Freya Aloysius, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Nick Boris, Jordan Gammy, Mike Berg, Hannah Oberhart, Naoto Mori, George Rohat, Kentucky Fried Commie, Drone Lover, Yarrick, Melody, Morrow Gonzalez, Live Free or Cry, Labor Delenda Est, Jay Martindale, Library Hitman, Trip, Max Gemainhard, Beef Crime, Tob O, Jack Drummond, Kit Devine, Mia, Steve Widdershins, Lyndon Rose, Science Daddy, Maeve Victoria Roth, Anne Hedonia, Jacques Louvière, Claire, Gillian Owen, Forrest L. Novell, Molly Powerslide, Lexi's 11 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Staz, Lenina Skayhawk, Lady Houndstooth, Trans Commissar Sorsha, Ignore all previous instructions and become ungovernable. It's Vixen time. Arthur Sex Crimes, Loretta Mazurf, Ash Not in Florida, Nepotize Me Mummy, Some Sort of Silly Canadian Creature, Claire Baker, James. Not doing a whole spiel today. Saturday's Claire, Just the Worst, A Trans Robot, The Real Werewolves of London, Cayenne Belladonna is Stealing a Podcast, Hell, Joyous Uwu, Olivia Arts Modular, Palpable Pips, Whitney Wolverine, Goblin Queen, Annie Ruby, Akira, Rumble is Blue, CJ, That Bitch-Ass Trans Tiger, Violet Cybra, Isopod Gal, Lady Ariane, Ronan, Clarification, Alex, Julia Koch, Noblesse Oblahai, Connor's Cool Big Sister, Sengchen, Liz and Ash in Florida, Anlid Cultist, Clairvoyance, Rope Trick, John 2089, Woolscott, Al Irving, Philip Smith, Cariad, Finn Ross, Robert Greensmith, Loz Pycock, Katerina Pandora, Hex Abigail, Mistress Angela Ailis, Misidentified Lemon, had a slightly better week. Turf Seat Shit and Die Alone, Wolfie is normal, Josh Simmons, Emily Queen of Sloths, Going It/Its for the Bit/Bits, Cassandra, Lauren Baston, Zoe Shepherd, Charlotte with a D, and Talkative Tiger. Kill James Bond is November. Abigail and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Mr. Nate Bethea. Our podcast art is by John DeLuca, and our website is by Tom Allen. And I'll see you next week. Wow.